Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hello, everyone. How are you today? I hope that you're in good health and you're in safe circumstances. We're going to continue with this amazing Gosho. This translation, by the way, is really a nice academic translation that doesn't seem to be affected so much by sectarian influences. That's kind of refreshing. So, a lot of big statements in this Gosho. Let's continue and see how far we can get. I'm not sure we'll finish today, but that's okay. We just got done with, he was just talking about the penetration and understanding that all dharmas are themselves the Buddha Dharma. In other words, ultimately, when you understand and you deeply understand your experience of Buddha mind, then from that perspective, all the various experiences that we have as human beings, as the experience of the entire universe, trees, planets, grasses, our environment, and ourselves, ultimately are all the Buddha realm. Once you awaken to that fundamental process that there is no separation of existence, the process of life, and you identify not as a thing or a person, a self, but instead as part of the entire process of life along with everything else, then all of those delusions of attachments, possession, hanging on to, grasping for, are really, they're nonsense. Because we're already all the same process. So the issue of attachment becomes a non-issue. So this is what he means when he says all dharmas are themselves the Buddha Dharma. But you only understand that once you attain or gain the insight of your Buddha mind, right? So, in continuing, Nichiren writes, the two principles of birth and death are principles of the dream of samsara. So the idea that we have a beginning, a middle, and an end is a provisional understanding of our human existence. But when we see clearly through our Buddha mind, we understand that this provisional birth and death, this human life that we experience, is just a blip of perception of our mind being able to perceive what's actually happening, is that we're just a blip in the process that provides, although it's just a blip, it has the incredible reward, if you will, of being able to see, understand, and participate in the flow of the entire universal drama that is the process of life. We get this little glimpse, this portal in this human existence to see the true nature of all phenomena, including ourselves. That we don't begin life in the womb. Our life begins with the life of the entire universe. But our samsaric existence, our conditioned apparatus to foster a mind is a delicious little opportunity to be able to witness that whole process, be conscious of it. So I don't want to slip into words like eternal and all of that, because that's a samsaric projection of being this human perception. This is just a very temporary instantiation of an apparatus to foster a mind which can observe the very incredible process that is the entirety of life, of all phenomena. We are not separate from it. We are it, just as much as everything else is it. You got to break down that individuation, and that's the whole crux of how we stress and have anxiety about everything, is simply because we see ourselves as a separate thing amongst constantly identifying things. That's what our samsaric brain does. It collects data and puts it in cubby holes. But if we can get out of that thinking and see with a broader eye mind, then that's just a temporary thingifying, right? When by means of the waking reality of original enlightenment, again, original enlightenment isn't that somebody figured it out some bewilderingly long time ago. Original enlightenment simply means this has been part and parcel of the process of life since the very beginning of the universe. And it will continue until the universe collapses, does whatever it's going to do. That's quite some time away. But it took, over 4 billion years for the Earth to evolve in a way specific to allow this life form of life that we call human, and even that took thousands of years, right, to develop to the point where our mind, our understanding of this whole process has brought us to the place where we can understand, conceive of this experience for what it actually is. It's just so, when you think of it in terms of the universe, it's this is why human consciousness is so precious, because it's really just a blip if you look at the entire timeline of existence and life, the universe. And for all our looking around, this little spot and this little blue dot in the universe is the only place where this apparatus has evolved to be conscious of a self. What we're trying to do is transcend this little viewing tower to understand that even though we're such a minute component of the entire universal life, that we alone have the perceptive ability to witness it. Whew. That's huge, right? When by means of the waking reality of original enlightenment, we inquire into the nature of our mind, we will find no beginning that is to be born, and therefore no end that is to die. Thank you, Nichiren, for saying that so clearly. This time-space illusion of moments created by moments is the universe itself. Is this not already the Dharma of the mind that is separated from birth and death? The mind, the perception is a much greater understanding of all time and space than is held in this moment of apparatus to instantiate the mind. Just because you turn the light on in the room and see all the furniture and the paintings and everything on the wall and the land that the house is built on, doesn't mean that when you turn the light off, that all goes away. The only thing that it's like, again, like waking up from a dream. The energies that constitute the amalgam of conditions and tendencies that result in you and I. It may be that the you and I-ness, that suchness, is a very temporary little blip in time and space. But the energy that was amalgamated to instantiate this mind doesn't begin and end with you and I. That's what he's saying. Is this not already the Dharma of the mind that is separated from birth and death? It cannot be burned in the fire at the kalpa's end, nor will it rot in a flood. Right? It's not the mind that catches fire or rots. It's this apparatus, this body. It cannot be cut by swords, nor shot by arrows or bow and arrows. It can fit within a mustard seed. Yet the mustard seed will not expand, nor will the Dharma of the mind contract. You're trying to give it attributes or characteristics. It's just an emergent, sentient consciousness from this apparatus, which is itself a constructed apparatus, just like stars, planets, galaxies, so on. It can fill all of space, yet space is not too broad, nor the Dharma of the mind too narrow. It is an emergent property of all of life, the universal life, if you will, the life of the universe. We just have a little vantage point. That's what our samsaric existence is about. What a wonderful, wonderful, it's part of all potential. This potential of being a human being, emerging consciousness so that we can witness the whole process, is just a potential that we are experiencing. Wow, amazing. To turn one's back on good is termed evil. To turn one's back on evil is termed good. Therefore, apart from the mind, there is neither good nor evil. Because that turning away or turning into, that's a mental, cognitive thing. That which is separated from good and evil is called neutral. Good, evil, or neutral. Apart from these, there is no mind. All judgment, categorizations, they all occur in the mind, not in the body. And apart from the mind, there are no dharmas. That's very big. To those who might say that the Dharma, the Buddha, is something that transcends this life, that is before this human life or after this human life. Going to the Buddha land after you expire. He just contradicted that. No, 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 no. All dharmas, all experiences are perceptions of mind. And what do we know about mind? Mind is an emergent property of this apparatus. It doesn't exist anywhere else or any time else. Therefore, good and evil, the pure land and the defiled land, the common mortal and the sage, heaven and earth, large and small, east and west, south and north, the four subsidiary directions, zenith and nadir, above and below, are all where the path of language is cut off and the workings of the mind are extinguished. How many times is he going to make this point? Buddhahood is to be experienced in this human life. Not because it exists everywhere all the time, but because this human life is the only place where your consciousness, your consciousnesses, your mind, your apparatus of perception and experience exists only here, in this brief time you have as a human sentient being. So if you're interested in enlightenment, you better get to it. Oh, by the way, it's so easy. Get a focal point, get this mandala that Nichiren has provided us so that we have the most concrete mirror of this teaching so that it can redirect our samsaric mind, brain, to our Buddha mind, clarity and understanding, so we don't miss a moment, so that we truly understand the importance, the significance of this life, this existence. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Engage it now. Don't wait. Don't pray for it. Be it. Myoho Renge Kyo now. Because it is in the mind that one discriminates and forms a conception of them, expressing it in language apart from the mind, there is neither discrimination nor non-discrimination. Words are what cause mental conceptions to reverberate. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. People talk about everything in the universe vibrates, has a frequency. Expressing them through the voice. This is why we chant. We create a vibration. Don't misunderstand. This isn't a magic formula. This is the property of the universe. How many hundreds, or for 100 years, we've discussed the beginning of the universe as a big bang. But sound is just a vibration. We talk about gravitational waves now. You and I can't hear it with this samsaric ear, but it is a vibration. On Earth, we have a much denser atmosphere, so those vibrations actually are pressure waves that our simple ear can interpret as sound. But that's not the only sound in the universe. There are pressure waves, albeit very subtle, through the vacuum of space. So there's very little to move around, but there is everything from free atoms and particles to dust to whatever. There's always something moving. Kinetics, momentum, right? Ordinary worldlings are deluded to their mind. They do not know it, nor are they awakened to it. The Buddha is awakened to it. And the expression of this awakening is called the supernatural powers. Supernatural powers means that his spirit, tamashi, permeates all dharmas without obstruction, all perception. These autonomous supernatural powers exist within the mind of all sentient beings. Thus, the fact that foxes and badgers manifest their own sort of supernatural powers is, in all cases, because they are to that extent awakened to their spirit or the mind, albeit much less developed. How do you train a dog? You couldn't do it if it didn't have a mind. It's not a human mind. It's not capable of that much abstraction. From this single dharma of the mind, there emerges the realm of the land. The sacred teachings of the Buddha's lifetime are what expound all this. They are termed the repository of the 84,000 dharmas, but they all, without exception, are doctrines originating within the body of a single person. This being so, the repository of 84,000 dharmas is the diary and record of oneself. What are we talking about? We're talking about cognitive experience. Listen, a rock has an experience, but it has no mind. So it can't catalog, it can't collect information, it can't perceive its existence in this form. It just is rock. But it's it is made of, it exists of the same energies of formations that only the mind is capable of recognizing. Again, that is our formidable quality of existence, our minds. Our mind is pregnant with the 80,000 dharmas. There we possess and hold them in our minds. To conceive by means of the mind within us that the Buddha, the Dharma or the Pure Land lies outside us, and to aspire to and seek it there, is called delusion. Once again, Buddha can only exist in the conscious mind of sentient beings. Not after death, not before, not some special place. It's in the mind. That land is in the mind. In response to good or evil influences, this mind produces good or evil dharmas. The Flower Ornament Sutra, right? The Avatamsaka, the Kigan, the first teaching Shakyamuni offered his disciples after he'd attained this enlightenment, this awakening. The mind is like a skilled painter, creating various temporary unions of the 5 skandhas. Remember what the skandhas are? Our 6 senses: vision, oral, touch, taste, right? Cognition. Among all realms, there is no dharma that it does not create. The mind. Like the mind, so too is the Buddha. And like the Buddha, so too are living beings. The Buddha mind is our mind, albeit with different definitions, different realizations about the true nature of all of this. You, me, the universe, so on and so forth. I know I keep hammering on this, but please see, this is what Nichiren's doing. This is what every great scholar of Buddhism has done, is try to hammer home this simple, straightforward truth that Shakyamuni taught almost 3,000 years ago. Human beings can be stubborn, though, because we love our stuff. And the idea that we'd lose it frightens the hell out of us. But you have to understand that to understand the whole process of life isn't to lose anything. It's just to perceive it all the more. The threefold world is but one mind, and apart from the mind, there are no separate dharmas. The mind, the Buddha, and all living beings, these three are without distinctions. This is the first thing he taught. So how could there be groups practicing all sorts of rituals and hand positions and so on and so forth to prepare them to go how many asamkaya lifetimes, how many repetitive lifetimes, to be reborn in another place in order to finally discover the Buddha land? Doesn't it sound silly? It's a complete refusal to accept the directness of these teachings. The rebirth is something we experience in each moment that we're living, just like the entire universe. We're transmigrating constantly. Birth. So what does it mean to be reborn in the next moment into the Buddha land of, tranquil light? Whatever quote you want to use from the teachings. That's awakening right now, right here and now. When you chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, boom, you're in the Buddha land. That's what this says. There's no separation. The separation is the illusion of samsaric understanding. The Wuling I Ching states, quote, "From the single dharma that is without characteristics and is not a characteristic, innumerable meanings arise." Why innumerable? Because each one of us has our own distinct way of understanding the same thing. Quote, "The single dharma that is without characteristics and not a characteristic is the mind of all living beings in a single thought moment." Not in multiple lifetimes, not in reincarnation, which isn't Buddhism at all. Interpreting this, the Wen Chu of Chi I states, "Because it is without the marks of birth, extinction, or impermanence, it is called without characteristics. Because it is separated from the marks of the two kinds of nirvana, that of remainder and that of no remainder, achieved by people of the two vehicles, it is called not a characteristics. The inconceivable," end quote, "the inconceivable nature of the mind is the conclusion and essence of the sutras and treatises." In other words, all of the teachings of Buddhism, Shakyamuni's teachings of Buddhism, and the scholarship, the strict scholarship of those teachings, as Nichiren is providing as well, as did Tendai, as did Miao Lo, as did Nagarjuna and Dengyo, right? This is the conclusion of all of them. One who awakens to and knows this mind is called Tathagata. When one awakens to and knows it, the 10 realms are his body, the 10 realms are his mind, and the 10 realms are his form. This is because the Tathagata of original enlightenment is our body and mind. When one does not know this, that is called ignorance. The word ignorance, mumyo, is read as being without illumination, like being in a dark room. You walk around stumbling on furniture and running into stuff till you turn the light on. It is not being clearly awakened to the nature of our mind. When one awakens and knows it, that is called the Dharma nature, the real experience of everything. Thus, ignorance and the Dharma nature are but different names for the one mind. You don't get a new one. You just turn the light on. Though the names or designations are two, the mind is only one mind. Accordingly, ignorance is not something to be cut off. See, we don't eliminate anything. For if one cuts off the ignorance of the dreaming mind, he will lose the mind of waking reality, because waking reality is to deeply understand the nature of the dream, the physicality, the manifestations, albeit from a new perspective. Instead of being one of the manifestations, one understands the process of manifestation, which is equanimous, a shared experience. In general, the intent of the perfect teaching is not to eradicate even so much as a single hair's breadth of delusion. Yes, I get it, Nichiren. Therefore, it is said that all dharmas are themselves the Buddha Dharma. Where are we time-wise? Let's go a little bit further. This is exciting to me because these ideas I've been pounding on for years now. This is the first I've read this Gosho, and Nichiren lays it out. Listen, this isn't something magical and mystical. This is a rare opportunity, is what it is, with your human mind to invoke your Buddha mind. Your mind is Buddha, so just recognize it. How do you recognize it? How do you tear yourself away? How does a child let go of its little thumb-sucking blanket? At some point, you don't burn it. The child evolves mentally to no longer require that attachment. Grows up, gets more mature, has deeper understanding of self and the world around us. So this is another type of maturity. Mature to your Buddha mind, and you won't be rattled so much by physical existence. You'll understand it as part of the apparatus that allows you to see the equanimity of everything, the process at work, the amazing nature, true nature of being. The Lotus Sutra states, quote, the suchness of their characteristics. I love that word, suchness. This indicates the major and minor characteristics of all living beings, or the manifestation body, Tathagata, of original enlightenment. The suchness of their nature, this indicates the nature of the mind of all living beings, or the recompense, the reward body, Tathagata, of original enlightenment. The suchness of their essence, this indicates the physical bodies of all living beings, or the Dharma body, Tathagata, of original enlightenment. This term, original enlightenment, I think it can be misleading. I'm not sure how that's exactly translated into English. There's a clue here because Nichiren and there's in parenthetical notes here, probably from the translator, indicating when Nichiren is talking about the nature of the mind of all living beings, or the recompense body of the Tathagata. As I've said before, this body, this manifest body, when we awaken our Buddha mind, our Buddha consciousness, we understand this body to be a precious opportunity. Not a tall, short, brown-eyed, green-eyed, all those characteristics that samsara wants to put on your body. The Buddha mind sees this as the fortunate, the reward, the reward of what? The reward of manifesting a mind that can perceive the true reality of everything. Without this apparatus, there can be no mind. So it follows that the clear Buddha mind has a great appreciation for this apparatus. That's what that means. That's the reward. Oh, thank you for manifesting me, my clear Buddha mind. Right? And then the next, recompense body, blah, 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 such as so essence. This is the physical body, or the Dharma body, Tathagata. Right? The Dharma body being, again, the apparatus that allows for, that provides for this tremendous perception of clarity. So even though we're using the term body, we're really a collection of karmic instantiation, manifestation, and all this elaborate manifestation of body solely exists for the mind to emerge, which you can't find it, as he was saying earlier, is that the mind is as expansive as the entire universe and smaller than a mustard seed, because there is no size, there are no attributes, there is no characteristics of mind. There's only states of mind, states of understanding, perceptive differences. And if we look at its core, the process of mind is Buddha, which is within the process of everything. Oneness, is that term functional in this context? It's what it means in Buddhism. From these three suchnesses arise the subsequent 7. And together they compose the 10 suchnesses. What's that in reference to? Right? At the end of the Jogyo, the Hoben chapter that we recite in Gongyo, the 10 suchnesses, qualities we assign to consciousness, to being. These 10 suchnesses are common to the 10 Dharma realms. Each realm, each world has these 10 suchnesses, and they're interpenetrating. We're going over the same elements, albeit from different angles. The mind. These 10 Dharma realms, the 10 worlds, emerge from the mind of a single person to become the 84,000 doctrines. Taking this one person as a model, the equality of all living beings is also like this. Oh. This represents the teaching of all Buddhas of the 3 time periods pondered and put into words, Sokanmon, the legitimate document that they have duly authorized with their seal. The authorization of the Buddhas is the seal of the true aspect. Seal is another name for authorization. Because none of the other sutras bear the seal of the true aspect, they are not legitimate documents. They have no real Buddha whatsoever. They're just provisional teachings, leading the way. And because they have no real Buddha, they are the documents of dreams. Right? Think of the Noble Eightfold Path. How to live this life well. Well, obviously, it's about this life, the dream world, the samsaric world. How do you condition yourself in this samsaric world toward future enlightenment? That's what the Eightfold Path is. That is not the ultimate teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha. That is preparatory teaching. That is leading you to perfection or preparation for the experience of perfection, but not the achievement of it. They are the documents of dreams and are not to be found in the Pure Lands. Because once you invoke your Buddha mind, you don't, that Eightfold Path is irrelevant. You understand far beyond that samsaric conditioning. The Dharma realms may be divided into 10, but the same 10 suchnesses pervade them all. To illustrate, though the moon may be reflected in innumerable bodies of water, the moon in the sky is only one. The 10 suchnesses of the 9 Dharma realms are the 10 suchnesses of dreams. Therefore, they are like the moon's reflections in the water. The 10 suchnesses of the Buddha Dharma realm are the 10 suchnesses of the waking reality of original enlightenment, and are like the moon in the sky. So another way of saying the same thing I just did. All of the preparatory, the provisional teachings, the skillful means, so on and so forth, they're like showing you the moon reflected in a body of water. But they're not the moon. To experience the moon, you must experience the moon. Therefore, when the 10 suchnesses of the one Buddha realm appear, how do they appear? In the mind. We're not talking about eyes. We're talking about mind. The 10 suchnesses of the 9 realms, like reflections of the moon on water, all appear simultaneously without a single exception. They don't go away. They're just perceived anew, forming a single Buddha entity endowed with both essence and function, coursing in the world with the Buddha mind. Because the 10 realms are mutually inclusive, and all beings of the 10 realms are accordingly equal, the moon of beginning in the sky and the moon of end reflected in the water are both inherent in the body of a single individual with nothing lacking. So you don't lose all your good work of the Eightfold Noble Path. You just now incorporate them in the bigger picture. Therefore, the 10 suchnesses are ultimately equal from beginning to end, with no distinction among them. Phew! At this point, I want to say to you, if you truly want to understand the value, number one, of Nichiren as our mentor, and secondly, all of Buddha's teachings, Shakyamuni's teachings, all the sutras, all the commentaries, this is a damn good Gosho writing of Nichiren that gets right to the heart of the matter. Now, do I understand it this way because I've been studying for over 40 years? Can a newbie, somebody new to chanting and Nichiren and Buddhism, follow the logic of this Gosho? Truly, to be honest with you, I cannot say, because I am not that person. I never was presented this translation in my beginning years in Buddhist practice. So I don't know how I would have reacted. To me, today, reading this Gosho, it's so blindingly clear. And I hope that I'm transmitting even a tenth of what I'm feeling as I read these words, translation or not, that the thoughts, the meaning behind these words that Nichiren composed. They validate every thought and curiosity I've had about Buddhism since I started practicing. He is saying to me all of those understood and non-understood, and even just that sense. Did you ever feel that when you were attracted to Buddhism in the first place, that there's something real going on here? It's a malign, overly used term, but there's an essence, a truth. There's something really real here, and I have to know it. And for me, today, in my mind, reading these words of Nichiren, he's giving it context. He's giving it just right on the button. I hope you experience that too. And I hope that with your daimoku in today's Gongyo, that you'll be able to get whatever insights you need to make these words resonate for you and get these aha moments, these deep, profound insights. I know that when we do Gongyo in a few minutes, I'm already feeling this tremendous well of appreciation. So on that note, I'm going to save the rest of this for another video, maybe two more. Oh my gosh, what a Gosho. But I will be dedicating today's Gongyo to this Gosho. And your enlightenment. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. So without further ado, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you have time, please join me or join me later for this Gongyo and Daimoku. And I'll see you in the next one, eh? Wow, that was really Canadian sounding. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Like, share, subscribe. Download the podcast, the audio podcast, right? Look for these terms on threefoldlotus.com. Download some PDFs for reference material. Let me know what's going on with you in the comments and email. Support this channel if you can. Anything you do, even watching these videos, liking and subscribing, helps us grow our Sangha, gives us more confidence. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. See you soon. All right, friends. Let us connect our Buddha minds. Through our Buddha mind, our one mind of enlightenment and awakening, with one voice, let us connect to our Buddha nature. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo 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 Myoho Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho 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 Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo 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 Horenge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge 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 Kyo. Horenge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge 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 Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Namo Myoho Renge Kyo.
Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Renge kyo, namo myoho 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 renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Horenge kyo, namo myoho renge 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 kyo, namo myoho Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho Namo myoho renge kyo, 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 namo myoho renge kyo. Myoho renge kyo, namo 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 myoho renge kyo. Myoho Renge Kyo Namo 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 Myoho Renge Kyo Myoho Renge Kyo Namo 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 Myoho Renge Kyo Renge Kyo Namo Myoho 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 Renge Kyo Myoho Renge Kyo Nam Myoho Renge Kyo Nam Myoho Renge Kyo Myoho Renge Kyo Hoben Bondai Nini Jesus Anju Zanmai Anjo Niki Go Shari Hachi Shobu Jie Jin Jin Murio Go Jie Mandange Nanyu Funo Chi Cho Ishaga Butcho Shingon Yakasama Nakamushu Shao Buttengo Shao Butamurio Doho Yam Yo Cho Jim Yo Cho Fuman Joju Jin Jin Mizo Uho Zigi So Setu Ishu Nange Ujuin and Juju Hiu Koen Gongyo Mushu Hoben Indo Jujo Rodi Jo Jakajo Ishaga Nyorai Hoben Chiken Haramitsukai Igu Sakasai Hutch Nyorai Chiken Godai Jinyam Zenjo Geda Samai Jinyu Musai Joju Isai Mizo Uho Shari Hutch Nyorai No Juju Fumbatigo Se Shoho Ganji Nunane Gashu Shin Shari Hutch Shiyo Ganchi Boosted to Doju, she shot hut to Fuju, booted to show, we shaga, busho, joju, dai, chike, unange, she ho, yui, but the albus and I know, kujin, cho, ho, jizo, cho, we show, ho, nyo, they, so, no, they, show, no, they, type. In yo, they, and yo, they, kan, yo, they, hon, yo, they, hon, ma, guk, yo, do, cho, we show, hon, yo, they, so, no, they, show, no, they, tai, yo, they, rikin, yo, they, san, yo, they, in, yo, they, en, yo, they, kan. On ma gu gyo do shou we shou hon yo zay so no zay shou no zay tan yo zay rikin yo zay san yo zay in yo zay en yo zay kan yo zay hon ma gu gyo do Myoho Renge Kyo No Raiju Yohan Daiju Ranganiji Butsugo Chobo Tatsugyu Isai Daishu Shosen Nanchi Aijo Daishi Go Bugo Daishu Nyo Dodo Shinge Nyo Raijo Daishi Go Ubu Go Sho Daishu Nyo Dodo Shinge Nyo Raijo Daishi Go Seji Bo Sasu Daishu Mi Raku Ishu Gasho Buka Butsugan Seson Yui Gan Seshi Seisan Baki Bugan Yui Gan Seshi Ga Dodo Shinju Butsugo Niji Seson Chisho Bo Sasu Sancho Fushi Nigo Shigon Yoto Daicho Nyo Rai Hi Michitin Shushi Riki Isai Seiken Teningyu Shakamani Bushu Shakajigu Kokaya Jofu Onza Odojo Tokawa Nokutara Samaka Sambodai Nenzen Nanchi Ga Jijo Butsu Irai Muryo Muhen Yakusama Nokanai Utako Tasogi Sanzendai Sensei Kai Keishi Uni Machi Mijinka Otobogo Yakusama Nokanai Uta Asogi Kokudai Ge Ichijin Yosei Tokyo Jinsei Mijin Chosen Nanchi Katokushi Yukyo Ge Chigo Chufumi Nakabo Satoku Bakabutsugan Se Sonse Shosei Kai Muryo Muhen Hisan Chuchochi Yakuhishin Yakishogu Isai Shomon Yakichi Butsui Murochi ガトジュアイオヨチジオゼチジュ役所不打セションヨゼ小世界無料無変二次仏語大菩薩衆小仙難知根頭不明仙行尿道税小世界一二一一人一個が成仏以来部が惜しい百千万のかない歌遊ぎ古事中世来が常在しサバ世界世法教規約要所百千万のか修上総前難知大勢中元が節年度武闘ウブ願語入王内反陽世界方便分別小前難知脈修将来死が生涯仏言看護神道召喚類論説明寺不動で小薬部言願導入内反入位中重方便説明妙法能量修上法官議心相前難知如来検証修上行王消防特和空中さ特和のくたら三脈三宝大年が実動物以来公安薬師谷方便教系修上導入仏道三要性説上前難知修上惑説更新惑説他心惑実更新惑実他心惑実更新惑実他実超超願説開示不幸超意者が如来如実天下三界思想無無所知脈体脈出脈無在世有滅上者非実非公非尿異不能三界有見無釈妙異小中上無修住小中住欲中住行中住奥祖分別後欲老小小戦が二脈が二年非有が自主住説法小差仏寺未相参拝近代公安寿命無料は葬儀工場中分別小戦難知が本業菩薩上症状寿命混入未人部売上中年間非実滅道二弁長願途中滅道教系修上小医者が脈部空中王世博特新人風習戦艦平宮下戦頓着後欲入王奥祖も剣も中那剣如来常在不滅不能小難造思想苦行死心成功如来異方便設備空透地小部数世難化地具小医者が小薬の天下無料薬千万の小枠有見また福見者小ビク如来難化桃源地修相当門如成功非等小難造思想心内連邦活合仏弁中戦願成功如来水不実滅二願滅道法界如世道中上開実不幸非如老一知相達妙蓮法薬前知中病五人他小思食若十二十内視薬周異無自縁On ta doga yaga yaga hotamon ran and then uji seji go bugen raiki ke shoshi on doga wakashi chan chin wakafushi sha yoken kobu kaidai kangi haiki monji go buku yoka take gengen kuryo kyoshi shumyo buken chito kunon yoze e sho kyobo guko yakasho shiki go mimi kai setsuku soku toshi wago yoshi ro buku nisa se gan chi dai ro yakashiki go mimi kai setsuku soku Mubu chugen go chochi chu fushi shinja kenshi ro yakashiki go guko sakaben bukachi byo chinjo yu yoshi shinja kengo burai sui yakangi monjingu chakaji byo nenyo go yaku Doge jinyo shippan chinko oshiko shikiko yakani ifumi busa zenen shishi kamini dokachochu shinkai tendo sui gengaki Agni fuga buga ga kon to the ho ben ro buga shi yakaso kisa se gan yo to chi ga kon sui ro chi chi I chi se ko ro yakon ru sai shi nyo ka cho buga motsu fu sai Genchi Gengo Nyobu Isi Seiji Shoshi Mambu Haiso Shindai Uno Nisa Zenen Yakabu Zai Shi Jimingato no Kenkugo Kanja Shaga Onso Takokachi Yui Koro Mubu Jiko Jo Ehi Kanchin Choi Chogo Naichi Chi Yakashiki Go Mimi Gobu Manshi Shichi Tokusai Jin Ben Raiki Genshi Kenshi Zozen Nanchi Yoi Yunga Ha Uni no Seshiroi Komo Zaifu Hocha Se Sambutugonga Yakanyo Se Jobutu Irai Yakusenma Nakana Yuta Asogi Ko Ichu Joko Iho Ben Riki Gonto Mitsudo Yakamu Uno Nyoho Setsuga Komo Kasha Niji Se Son Yakuchu Sendiki Setsige Gon Shogo Shogo Shumuryo Hakusenma Nakasaya Sogi Joseph Kyoki Mushu Akushu Shoronyu Obutaro Nirai Muryo Ko Ido Chujoko Hobengen Neihan Sisa Pochka Joju Oshi Icho Senju Rikido Tendo Shuzo Suiga Nifu Kenshu Kenga Metsuro Koku Yoshari Genkai Renbo Nisho Katsugo Shinshu Joki Chimboku Shichichiki Inu Nani Shinyo Kenbutsu Fuji Jakajimyo Jigaku Shuso Gaji go Shuzo Josai Shifu Metsui Ho Benriko Genu Metsufu Metsuyo Goku Shuzo Kugyo Shingo Shagabu Ohichu Isetsumu Joho Nyoto Fumanchi Gaken Shojuzo Motsuzayo Kukai Kofu Igen Shinrogo Shokatsugo Ingo Shinrenbo Naishizu Isapo Jinzu Rikinyose Owasogi Ko Gyuyo Shojuzo Shujo Kenko Jindai Ka Shojoji Gashi Do Anon Tenin Joju Manon Rin Shodo Kakushuju Ochogan Oju Takeka Shoten Gakuten Gyujo Sashugi Gaku Mandara Ke Sambata Gyudai Shuga Jodo Fuki Nishu Kensho Jinu Fushoku no Zai shou cai shu zhou yi akugo inen ka sogi kofu man san mo miao chou chu ku doku nu wa shichi jiki sa so kai kin gai shin zai shin ni sa po wakaji i shi chu kunai ken bu shai i se de budan an chi ga chi rikin yo se ego cho mu yo jim yo mu shu ko ku shu go sho toka nyo to u chi cha mo to chi chogi Butsugo Jippu Ko Nyoi Zen Ho Ben Niji Yoshi Ko Jitsuzai Nigan Chi Muno Se Komo Ga Yakari Sebu Kushoku Genshai Bambu Tendo Jitsuzai Nigan Metsui Jo Kengako Ho Itsujakugo Yokunda O Akoto Chu Gacho Chi Chujo Gyodo Fugyo Do Suyo Chokado Ise Chuju Ho Mai Sisa Zenen Tokanyu Mujodo Sagajo Jubu Shinnamu Myoho Renge Kyo Namu 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 Myoho Renge Kyo Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam 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 Thank you so much. Namo myoho renge kyo.